the AIM, the AI monitor or augmented intelligence monitor, we are monitoring the evolution of generative AI and artificial intelligence technologies in general. The AIM is one of the rooms of the Camel Hall. The Camel Hall is this channel I've started on YouTube, but the parable or the allegory is one of a big hall, antique, old or very ancient sort of temple, a palace. It includes you in a palace, and it's an allegory of a hall that contains multiple rooms. The switch is a room with very little windows because it's devoted to introspection. And there are other rooms like that. But in the AIM, it's more of an observatory. It's a room with a big opening towards the sky and the world, right? And there's a number of devices and radars and telescopes pointed towards different parts of the world where we're looking at what's happening in the space of artificial intelligence, right? Let's put it this way. So today, I'm running one of the episodes of the Crunch in the AIM, which means that I want to talk about what's happening right now in the space of artificial intelligence and what it means for our human augmented intelligence. I'm probably a little bit late and lagging a little bit behind the actual news, and that's okay, right? There are so many podcasts already of people who are reporting immediately, on the spot about what's happening, this new tech, this new NLM and all that, right? So I don't want to steal their thunder or, walk on their turf. Not at all. What I'm doing in the Crunch is really cherry picking some of the important news I deem important, to discuss what they mean fundamentally from a longer term perspective. Would that be for us as individuals, or would that be for us as business stakeholders, investors, entrepreneurs, and of course professionals in the corporate world? Okay, so just to reset a little bit of context and to manage expectations about this podcast. Today I've got some glasses on, and I don't know if it's because I'm tired or because I probably wrote too small or printed out too small characters on my notes. Okay, so bear with me. I hope you don't mind this sort of professor, crazy professor look. It's Thursday morning. I'm going to my daytime job, and I'm broadcasting from beautiful Geneva. I've got 6 items for you today, and I think they are all very interesting in their own regards, right? So without further ado, I want to talk about the first, special things I've picked from the news, and it's a bit of a national pride here at play because it's coming from France. And what I'm talking about is it's about this startup company called Kyutai, or Kyutai, Kyutai. New startup, incepted maybe less than a year ago, and in the last 6 months, they're coming out of stealth, so to speak, and they've just came out with an impressive new large language model called Moshi. You would have heard about that. Moshi has been breaking the news because it's got something very specific, right? So it's a real-time audio AI model, and what's remarkable is that the model, when it listens to you, right, through speech-to-text recognition, so certainly, it can anticipate the end of the question. So that's quite remarkable, right? You don't have to be in this sort of turn-based sequential interaction with the model, right? It streams real-time what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure very soon it will be also based on, your facial expression, your body language, when you will be able to absorb and ingest a video stream. But it can already predict what you're going to say next. So what's quite remarkable is that this leads into new perspectives about conversational AI, right? We've been talking about conversational user experiences for a long time, at least for 6 years, as far as I can remember, when I built my first chatbot for this bank in Australia. And we were talking about conversational interactions, but that was turn-based. Right, like a very old school role-playing game. Here, Moshi is different. Listens to you and can interject, even interrupt you and say, oh, I see what you mean. Right? So, and it's doing that in real time, and of course running on the right hardware. Imagine that running on Grok, for instance. That would be seamless and blazing fast, and you would be completely, made believe that you're talking to a real person. Okay, so what's also very remarkable with Moshi and of Kyutai is that it's been developed by a crazy small team of people in just 6 months. So this is really also to draw a lesson out of that about, how much investment and what is the scale you need today to innovate in the space of AI. You've got the big, large companies in America who invested, OpenAI, Anthropic, and there are hundreds of workers now, right? And Microsoft's AI team or Google's AI team or Meta AI team. You can just imagine the scale of it, okay? But Moshi, I don't have the numbers, right? But just a few people, and boom, they've done this model and released it. And they've released it open source. Cocorico! I want really to praise the French spirit here, and have this reference to our totem animal, the rooster. I would like to sing if I could, but I'm not a great singer. Anyway. So really, that inspires me is that it's possible to do things with a small scale, and this David versus Goliath image you can have in your mind that two big players now in this market to do something really significant. Well, wrong. And Kyutai just demonstrated it, right? So a French startup can challenge Silicon Valley giants. So watch this space. I'm very, very excited. I haven't played with the Moshi yet, but I will certainly soon. Okay. Second piece of news, I've been really teased and concerned in some respects by the announcement made by Elon Musk recently about what's happening with Grok. Grok as in G-R-O-K and not Q, right? K, which is the model x.com or x.ai, the new company of Elon Musk. That's their AI model, right? Which is supposed to be thriving for authenticity and veracity and truth. I'll refer to some interesting philosophical views of Elon Musk along the lines of how AI should help us in the pursuit of truth. Okay, but Grok is announced in version 2 this summer, any days now. So, and it's been trained, I think, on 30,000 chips, right? NVIDIA chips. Can't remember which ones, but 30,000, which is already a large-scale training. Okay, but Elon says that it's just the beginning, and the next step is already underway for Grok 3, and it's going to require nothing less than 100,000 H100 NVIDIA chips. They have been already shipped. You'll see on the web, and maybe I'll put it as an overlay here, this image of Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, delivering himself the first H100 unit, and Elon being all smile about it, right? So that's all good, and on the paper, from an academic perspective, that's really exciting, right? But that, in my eyes, that illustrates the arms race we are seeing in that space. It's still going on, right? Bigger, higher, stronger, and that would be okay if that was not raising questions about the consequences in terms of energy consumption. I'll let you imagine this 100,000 units running for weeks, if not months, ingesting data, sliced, maybe stolen, not making any accusations here, from the web. How much energy it's going to require, right? It's going to be mad, right? So really raising some concern about the corporate sustainability and responsibility strategy and next report of the X company, right? It would be interesting to read it. So yeah, philosophically, is bigger always better? I don't know. I mean, obviously Elon has a big ego, everybody knows that, and he wants to be nothing less than number one in that space. So that's why probably he's throwing everything at it. But yeah, my guts tell me that's not the right approach, and that's not a great move from a board responsibility perspective for such a prominent public figure. My 50 cents. Continuing in the same vein of energy consumption, so my third item that I picked was precisely the corporate sustainability report published by Google this year. And guess what? Before I disclose it, I have to say that surprisingly, Amazon in the same time has done the same and released their corporate sustainability report. And surprisingly, their carbon emissions have fallen, have gone down. I'd be curious, and I'll investigate what sort of magic trick they might have used to get those results, right? But maybe Google is a little bit more honest, or maybe less responsible, and as a result, they've blown up their carbon emission objectives. I'm reading the numbers. Google greenhouse emissions have increased 48% since 2019, right? And that's to no one's surprise, of course. And that's not just cloud compute, obviously, but that's all this training they've done over the years on AI, and more on Palm, on DeepMind, and more recently now on the rebranded Gemini family. You can only imagine, again, what it means. Actually, I've heard the story, and I'll check the fact that, if you check around the data centers in America of the big companies like Meta, Microsoft, Google, Apple, it's scorched earth all around them for a simple reason. Heat radiation, right, of the data centers. Clearly, the impact on the environment is that it's becoming more arid, if not desert. Okay, so I'll have a look at that. But yeah, of course, this increase in energy consumption at Google is AI-driven, no doubt about that, and they are consuming the equivalent of annual emission of 38 gas-fired power plants. Right, so it's not small game, right? So really, this is a sort of prompt, no pun intended, and trigger to examine our general approach to AI and generative AI. Do we really need to keep going at such large scale at a crazy energetic cost? That's worth asking. And one could say, the title of the headline would be: Is Google AI addiction going to lead to a climate change acceleration? That's a real question. Okay, so that's for Google and Grok, or X with Elon Musk. Very concerning for our future, really. Okay. Next nugget I picked was this really interesting article I spotted on Medium. I don't know how I picked it. Maybe in one of my newsletters or news alert. And then I'll talk about the way I'm doing that, in the future podcast. If you're interested, how to organize your innovation radar and make sure you capture the latest development. But this guy has been writing an article and titling it "Service as a Software Concept" as far as AI is concerned. And I find that brain teasing. It's not software as a service, it's service as a software. Inverting the logic, right? So it really emphasizes about the way AI should be implemented in the enterprise, right? And it should be a service as a software. And I like that because that's exactly what I'm advocating for most of the time, in my day job at the moment. The fact that we should have, AI factories, proprietary AI factories running in our businesses with services, AI services as a software, okay? It advocates for capturing entire workflows, right? Not just individual tasks. We passed that already, right? We know LLMs can do individual tasks very well, but the challenge now is to have an agent-based approach, right? With orchestration and have entire workflows automated. Things that used to take heaps of time with human operators alone can now be dramatically accelerated as part of a workflow. So the Anyway, you read the article and you tell me what you think. There are really, in my head, some worthy ideas, but it's talking about what that means in terms of pricing models and performance-based pricing. Could be a game changer, right? So, and really the right paradigm or hints of the right paradigm for AI in the enterprise. Can't remember the name of the guy, but you will see the article link below, okay? That was number 4. Now, number 5. Let's talk about Mr. Mustafa Suleyman, head of AI at Microsoft, ex-DeepMind, prominent figure. British, I think, from background. I'm attending this short course at the moment with Stanford University. I'll put the link down there. Really good. And there's a few lectures with Mustafa Suleyman. Let me tell you, very smart guy. A lot of respect, of course, for who he is and most importantly for what he's done, right? We're including DeepMind and AlphaGo and all these kind of things, like breakthroughs in terms of highly specialized AI, and now he's the head of AI at Microsoft, so that means something, right? So of course he's followed by cohorts of AI aficionados out there, including me, and we're watching carefully everything he's saying. Hush, Suleyman Mustafa is going to talk, right? What is he saying? And to my disappointment, about the last 2 weeks, he committed two mentions and 2 quotes which have really baffled me and left me uncertain about, where his mind is at the moment. I mean, I'm very careful because, again, as I say, he's a super, super smart guy. And I never want to disrespect people with superior intelligence, right? But first, position of Mustafa Suleyman on OpenAI training data, right? Or AI training data in general. As far as the web goes, according to Mustafa Suleyman, it's open bar. According to him, everything that is available on the web that can be browsed can be crunched by AI, no questions asked, right? He's sweeping aside very casually any concerns about IP, intellectual property, or rights to ownership of art, for instance, or IP on content, written content, articles, audio, music. No, if it's on the web, it's up for grabs. We can train our models on it. Wow. I'll let you reflect on the implications of that, right? But that means that as soon as you put anything on the web and it's not protected by some form of login, members area, password restriction, by the way, don't bet on the robots.txt files, right? Because they will be blatantly ignored, as the recent Perplexity meltdown has shown, right? These guys are looking at the web like the Far West. It's up for grabs. First coming, first served. And Mustafa Suleyman supporting this sort of movement and view of the world, it's really shocking. Nothing less. Like, what about the rights and of the content owners and producers? I can understand long term the position saying that AI one day will be recognized as sentient, as a form of person, not physical, not moral, but a form of person. And of course, if you think about it, when we humans browse the web, it's up for grabs. We ingest in our brains all the information we want and we can, right? So we process it, right? We crunch it, it goes into our little brain cells, stored in our memory lockers, and we can freely reuse it and rehash it at some point. Except that, as we rehash some content we've learned from the web, there's still copyright and there's still plagiarism rules applying to us humans. So why wouldn't that be the case for AI? I'll stop here because, that's I've been thinking about it over the past few days, and my thinking is not over yet. So really, I'd like your take on that, so we can start a conversation and see where we stand. Right? Maybe I missed something. Okay. But he said also something else, right? So he had a quote about saying how far he would trust Sam Altman from OpenAI. Right? He's putting all his trust in Sam Altman. Okay, that starts being the nail in the coffin for me, because Sam Altman, however brilliant the man and the mind are, right, but has been found blatantly guilty of so many lies lately and so many careless management of people, predictions, security and safety of AI. The recent hack of OpenAI revealed in the New York Times and other media can testify for that. So again, I understand that Mustafa Suleyman is now part of the big Microsoft family and the circle of trust, right? Hey, yippee, yippee, hey, we love each other, right? But that doesn't deprive him from his brain and his critical thinking and his ability to take his distance with people with such a blood trail, really, behind them, right? So anyway, I'll keep, of course, following Mustafa Suleyman. I still think, of course, he's a very remarkable intellectual and achiever in the space of AI. But yeah, that's put some perspective in my eyes about anything that comes out of his mouth. Okay. All right. I will conclude this Crunch episode with a little bit more news, more good news. And I think that will become a little bit of a routine and a tradition to end or to begin with AI for good. It's important that we remind ourselves, right, that like any technology, AI is nothing per se, right? It's a technology and it will come down to what we do with it. Just like electricity, just like black powder, just like nuclear power, just like writing, AI is not different, okay? So I've spotted two interesting pieces of news along the lines of the treatment of Alzheimer's. Right? And we know that nowadays, with an aging population in most Western countries or rich OECD countries, Alzheimer, of course, is a condition that is more frequent. It's more frequent due to the longer age we live, and it's more frequent probably due to our way of life. Stress, toxins in our environment, diet, you name it. Okay? But anyways, Alzheimer is a tragedy for most families subject to it, where a family member has this condition, because of course it deprives us from the most precious thing we have between two humans, right? Emotions, memories, shared experiences. It's all gone in the wind with this horrible disease, okay? So, good news. Something coming from the Boston University, which has now developed an algorithm, AI-driven algorithm, to predict at very early stages the chances of Alzheimer developing based on speech recognition. Right? The way people speak can embed very tiny hints and signs of Alzheimer kicking in. Okay, and we know how critical it is to detect and heal and cure and prevent this disease at its earliest stage, both from a pathological perspective, but also from a human perspective, right? People can prepare themselves earlier to what's going to happen to them, okay? So early detection made possible now through AI, which is great, and of course prevention, right? Mitigation, early mitigations, which is going to give great hopes for families with known antecedents in particular, okay? So that really demonstrates once, if we had to, how AI can have a material and massive actually impact on healthcare. Not that we had any doubts, but again, it's always good to bring to the table some concrete material examples of this happening and unfolding. Okay, so, and there was also something else. There was a second news, but I failed to put it in my notes. Demonstrated from Pixel to, oh yeah, I think there was another company, another startup, and you'll find the link down there, applying AI algorithms, machine learning and AI algorithms to the detection of early Alzheimer on brain scans, right, on C-sections and MRIs of the brain, right? So So that's why the line was from pixels to diagnosis. I like that. It's good soundbite. AI's new role in Alzheimer's detection. Okay. So AI for good, it's there too, fortunately, right? It's not all about the fancy, the magic, the hype. No, they are real world breakthrough, and we can only rejoice because of that. That's it for the crunch this week. I hope you enjoyed that and you're interested in some of the items. Please, by all means, comment, thread on. I would really like to start a conversation, in particular around all these philosophical questionings, and it's important, right? We, the community, need to be vocal about our opinions and ideas to make this better. If you like this podcast, give me a like, please. That's going to encourage other people and the beautiful YouTube algorithm to recommend this video to other people. And don't forget to subscribe as well, so that you don't miss the next episode. As I said, it's not going to be necessarily weekly, maybe fortnightly, but every time I've got enough in my bag from the AI world, I will come on this podcast to share it with you. This is the aim, the Augmented Intelligence Monitor, and I wish you a good end of the week.